Hi, I'm David Dowdy. I own Action Coach Lake Norman, your local business coaching, business training firm here in the Lake area. And I am thrilled to have David Teifer on the line with us today with LeadVision. So, David, thanks for being on the Business Spotlight series today, and can't wait to hear your story and some of your wisdom. So, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about LeadVision, if you would.
Well, sure. So as you said, my name is David Teifer. I'm the CEO and founder of LeadVision, which we started about 17 years ago. Privately held. We are located in downtown Charlotte, right at the corner of Trade and Tryon. And we are a digital marketing firm focused on lead aggregation. For those of you that don't know, just simple terms, we connect buyers to sellers. We sort of matchmake them together. For the consumer, we're getting them comparable pricing. And for the businesses, we're getting them customers that they might not ordinarily get because all the advertising we're doing is digital. So it's search, it's social, programmatic display, email. We're everywhere, just like the companies themselves are. But customers may find us easier than they find some of them. So we're acting like that intermediary and providing them just a bit more sales than they would ordinarily get.
Okay. And does it matter what industry or are there niches you like to focus in on?
Yeah, so it's a good question. We do focus on certain verticals, certain industries. Currently, that includes heavy machinery, which is one of our big ones. And when I say heavy machinery, it is forklifts, it is earth moving equipment, as well as industrial scrubbers and sweepers. So those are our big machinery lead programs. So in that, with that vertical, we have customers who are searching for this equipment all the time. And then we also have a nationwide dealer network in Canada, in the US, and over in the UK. So we have coverage all over those countries where we're taking the consumer or the customer, the buyer, and passing them off to those dealers to get their pricing. In addition to machinery, we also generate leads for POS systems, the little handheld devices. You may have seen these when you go to a restaurant and your waiter or your waitress will come by when you're ready to pay your bill, and they'll hand you a little gadget, and you put your credit card up to it and you pay. So we're generating leads for those. Those are our B2B verticals. On the B2C side, we're generating leads for bathroom remodeling, for roofing, windows, hot tubs, home relocation. I think that is it for now. Oh, those are the industries we currently serve. Obviously, more to follow.
So yeah, I was going to say it's a growing list, so it takes a little effort to keep up with it, I'm sure. So that's exciting, and to be right here in the Charlotte market, well done. So let me ask you, if you had to start from square one, start all over again, what do you think you might do differently? Technology's come a long way, I know, in 17 years, but from that business perspective, what might you do differently now?
You're right. I mean, certainly digital advertising has changed over the years. I mean, Google, it's not like Google's been around forever. We think it has been, but it hasn't. I mean, Facebook just started in 2004. So a lot of these companies are sort of newer to this lead generation game. I feel like I'm keeping up with all the trends, so I don't think there's anything I would change there. What I would change is I probably would have gone out to raise capital very early on. And when I say raise capital, I'm not talking about a couple $100,000 worth of bridge loans. I mean, if I would have done an A or B or a C round and raised 10, 15, 20, $30 million, then I could have used those funds to acquire other businesses like mine. And that would have given me the ability to immediately jump into another vertical without having to build it from scratch. So the downside, and the reason I didn't do it, was I wanted to maintain 100% control, which I currently have. Having said that, you grow slower because you're bootstrapping the company, right?
Right.
So if I had to do all over again, I probably would have raised that money and used those funds for acquisitions.
I would imagine that is a challenge, a mindset that most business owners have. How do I scale at the rate I want to grow and yet maintain 100% control? They're competing forces, right?
Right. Yeah, no, I absolutely, that's part of it. And the other part is too, if you are going to do that and you get the right investors, they give you a large amount of money. So what happens? Now, instead of owning 100% of something at X level, I now own, 70 or 60 or 50% of something much larger. I'm okay with the scenario. The downside for me is that you got to give the investors an end game. They have to exit, which means I got to sell or we got to go public. Well, I didn't want to have that kind of weight like added to me. I didn't want to be forced to sell because I don't want to quit working yet. I still want to work. I like coming to
Right.
work. I like being a part of all these fantastic people that I've brought on the team. So I'm not ready to be in a position to sell, or frankly, we're not big enough to go public. So I just always thought it'd be better if I can do without other people's money, it would be better for me.
Good, good. And you learn a lot on the way through these 17 years and through some of this mindset shift and all that. So what are some of the bigger learnings or forks in the road that you that may come to mind as I ask that question?
Some of the things that I've learned, I mean, the major one is people. I mean, so I'm full disclosure, I'm 52 and I can't speak for other people my age, but I grew up in a time where if my boss wanted to give me a raise, he just got my loyalty, right? You want to give me more money, I'm your guy.
Yeah.
But that's not how people are today. They're not like that anymore. If you're going to hire a workforce that's 20 years old, 30 years old, 35 years old, you have to embrace their mindset. And their mindset is one of, it's compensation, yes, but it's also acknowledgement, career advancement, work flexibility, remote option, work-life balance. It's all these things. And I think that goes for almost every 20, 30-year-old employee I have. The only difference is what's the priority, like what's number one. And I will tell you that most of these people that I speak with, compensation is almost never number one. Even for our salespeople, it's work-life balance, flexibility. It's all these other things. They want to bring their dog to work. You'd be surprised. And I don't think any of it's bad. It just took me a very long time to figure that out.
I appreciate you sharing that because the default position is just throw more money at it. And that's not.
It's not, because there's plenty of people that are paid a lot of money who still leave my company or who left, in the past. It's really not. I think you do have to pay them a good amount of money. Obviously, they got to pay their bills. But at the same time, there's so many other things that they want satisfied. And I feel like in the past, I made my life fit into my work. And now these people want their work to fit into their life. It's just a different mindset. I don't think it's bad. It's probably healthier. It's just, it took me time to figure this out.
It's just different. It's just different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And who knows where the next generation will go with it, right?
Or it may return back to what I experienced. Then maybe it goes back. Who knows?
Yep. So there's a lot of misconceptions. I'm not sure what you did prior to this company, 17 years ago, but what are some of the misconceptions that you had or other people might have with regard to business ownership and being the one at the top of the org chart? How's that played out? What's different?
So my career started out as a high school chemistry teacher. It then then it transitioned into investment banking. So I got into the biotech and pharmaceutical investment banking world, and I was in that world for a while. Made very good money, but I just don't think the life was healthy for me. Lifestyles, lots of travel, lots of other things. So eventually I got out of that and I started this business. Now, the misconception for me is that if I had to grab 10 people on the street who've never owned their own business, maybe people in their 20s or early 30s, and said to them, hey, do you want to own your own business? They would jump at the chance. Of course, yeah, I'd love to, because I think some of the people actually think this is not that hard and that, hey, I want to be the boss. I want to make all the decisions. And I think my experience in 17 years, hands down, is that it's very lonely at the top. Now, it's better now because now I understand that and I'm okay with it. But in the very beginning, when you pour all your savings into a business, now, meanwhile, I had a wife and a daughter at the time. So when you pour everything in, you're all in or you're all out. You're either this is going to succeed or I'm literally going to go, I'm not going to have anything in savings. I'm going to go have to find a job. So it's getting it off the ground and investing all your money where your mouth is. And it's riding the waves up and, and the ups and downs and everything.
Oh, yeah. I
just think it's very lonely. It could be scary at times and there's no guarantees. I think that's a misconception. It's funny when you think, okay, I'm at the top, so I can't be fired. Well, that's not true, because if I lose all my clients, then I'm essentially fired and I have no business. So it's not glorious. In fact, I would argue that it's probably the hardest thing I've ever done, because I have to think about so many different factors around this business and all of my employees. And at the same time too, I love my employees. I want to be
Mhm.
there with them through the ups and downs. I want to watch them get married. I want to see them buy their first house and have their first, child. Like I love these people. So I really want to see them succeed. So I take ownership over that. And that's very heavy on your heart at times.
Oh yeah. So David, how long before you got your first employee? How long before you felt like you had your feet under you as a business,
It took
a viable business owner?
It took me about, so my first employees, I think I started bringing, and it wasn't a lot. It was like maybe two people. I brought on
Mhm.
my first employee, maybe 6 months in. Her
Okay.
name was Kelly, and she was handling all of our accounts payable, accounts receivable, just basic stuff.
Yep.
And that was probably about 6 months in. My next employee, I want to say, was around month 8 or 9, right before a year. And that was a salesperson. Um, I was operating in the red for about 18 months. So just burning through my cash.
Wait. You didn't come out of the gates instantly profitable?
That's
I
a good one.
mean, I think that really is a misconception. I think that many business, they think that, a few months in, oh, just turn the lights on, hang the sign, and we're gonna be good.
Yeah, I want to be part of that world. That sounds fantastic. No, no, if you're going to start a business from scratch, I'm talking about a business where literally you didn't buy it, you didn't inherit it. Like, you literally are starting something from thin air. You're losing money. It's just a matter of how long. And in some
Yep.
cases, most businesses don't even succeed. I mean, there's businesses out there that have lost money from day one and then just go bankrupt. We were lucky enough to sign a deal with a particular company on our forklift lead business. They were buying up huge chunks of our leads. And back then in 2007, 2008 ish, advertising on Google was very affordable. It
Mm,
isn't anymore, but it was back then. So just selling my leads to one buyer, I could be profitable. So, like, bringing this one client on literally made me profitable. After that, I had another sales guy and myself, and we just made 100, 200 calls a day and just kept signing customers up. So from the time 18 months hit, we never looked back. We've always been profitable.
gotcha. That's awesome. So you've had a great run at it over 17 years,
Yeah.
or at least 15 and a half years. It's been a lot more fun than you got to the break even point. But what
Yep.
do you attribute your growth to? Was there any particular strategies, people, systems, processes? What?
Yeah. I mean, I think everything comes down to people. At the end of the day, who you surround yourself with. I've made a lot more mistakes than I've made, awesome hires. And those mistakes really cost you. It'll cost you in terms of potential lawsuits, morale, all sorts of things. Excuse me. But when you hire the right people and you get the right team, and you back them and you support them and you care about them and their families and whatnot,
Yeah.
it gets you there. That's the secret. I mean, if you're surrounded by really, really good people who know how to do their job, then it's a much more manageable process for me.
So what do you look for in your employees when you're looking
Yeah.
at your team?
Now it's very different than years ago when we used to recruit. In the years past, if I'm hiring salespeople, I would just hire people that had sales experience. I didn't look at some of the other aspects of them, like
Mm,
how would they gel with the team? Would I have a beer with this person? Like, is this person, like, are we going to connect? So there's lots of that going on. Now when I fast forward to today and I interview, number one, it's got to be the skills. The skills have to be there of what
yep.
we need. Number two, the academics have to be there. For digital marketing, I need people with that kind of a background that have been in this industry before, who understand it, who've been to school for it. And then third, I call it the beer test. I want to like people I'm working with, because I think if you like the people you work with, you work better with them. You collaborate better. I firmly believe that. And that doesn't mean literally I want to have a beer with them. It's what I'm
Right.
saying is, like, I just feel like collaboration, which is the key to our success. Collaboration is so much easier when I surround myself with people who I really appreciate and enjoy. I think it's super important. So you might argue, well, wouldn't you hire like a rock star salesperson, even if they were kind of, different than you? And the answer is no, not really. I mean, I do want all-stars, yeah. But if I hire someone that I don't connect with, that could impact our communication.
Yep.
It can impact everything. So I look for people that possess, the skills, definitely been in our industry, the academics, and definitely the chemistry. It's got to be there. You have to like the people. Now, I'm not saying best friends, just you have to connect with them.
Yep. I understand. Good, good. So I know you've been, you mentioned the ups and downs and twists and turns of being a business owner. How do you personally manage that work-life balance, if there is a balance between keeping yourself physically and mentally and emotionally and spiritually healthy
Yeah.
with the demands of your business?
I'm getting better at it. I, I can never really fully shut it off. I will tell you that. It's very tough to shut these things off. Anybody, business owner is going to tell you that. But I make sure every day I go for a run. I do an afternoon run, 6 miles every afternoon, like 12:15. I went today and it was raining out. I did it.
Wow.
I run the light rail track. So it's good for me mentally. I'm out of the office for like an hour, give or take. So that's important for me. I break up my day that way. On the weekends, I try very hard to open up my computer as few times as humanly possible. Like I make a mental effort. My wife and I, we're very active. We're up at Lake Norman, so we're into lake surfing, and this time of year, my daughter and I are snowboarders. So we're very active. And then we bought a place down in Florida, so we go there quite a bit. So I would say I'm getting much better about shutting it off. So mentally, I'm probably healthier than I've ever been. Now, in the podcast I did years ago, I wasn't doing that yet. So I was probably much more stressed.
Gotcha. Well, you look like you're having fun now.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
good. That's
Life is good.
Yeah. Excellent. So as we kind of start wrapping this up, any other words of wisdom or thoughts that you think might be beneficial to an emerging entrepreneur or somebody that's going through the grind right now?
I think everything starts with a really good idea, a really good concept. I think everything else will naturally fall into place, or it won't. But I think the first thing is you got to have a really, really good concept. And it's got to be for the customer or for the buyer of that product. It has to fill a need. It's got to be valuable. You can't sell junk. And in my industry, it's littered with lead providers who sell leads, which are fraud and bot traffic, and let's just say less quality sources. I just believe you have to take care of the customer so that they stay with you long term. So good idea, good product, surround yourself with very good people, and never, ever, ever sweat the small stuff. It's not worth it. It honestly isn't. I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't address it with your employees. You can address it, but just know that the small stuff, and that's for them to decide what's small and what isn't. I would focus on bigger stuff. And then understand that, you got to have a work-life balance, but at the end of the day, everything is on you. I mean, you're the one that's got to make payroll. It's all on you. So, just be mindful to check in,
Awesome. Awesome. All right, David Teifer, LeadVision. Hey, what's the best way if somebody wants to reach out to you or the company regarding some of these resources you've got to offer the marketplace? What's the best way to do that?
So they can reach me, go to our website, which is www.leadvision.com. And you'll find all of me and all my employees on there. You can connect with me through LinkedIn on our page. Also, you can email me, david@leadvision.com. We are always hiring good people. If you have digital marketing experience, specifically in lead ag, I'll talk to you.
Awesome. Awesome. David, I appreciate you being on the Business Spotlight today and sharing some of your story. I really appreciate your time and look forward to hearing many more great successes with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You got it.